fun. So I have had that experience with the bicolor look-alike that I had dried and ate it. Unfortunately, it was like Christmas, right before Christmas, and I had shopping to do. So it was not a good thing. And so that's you might keep that in mind. And Bill Rudy, who knows more Boletes than I do, also has had that experience with the bicolor group. Now, one of the things you do with bicolor is this almost is not right for it. The tubes are shallow in relation to the flesh. The ratio is much more different than it is in a lot of Boletes, where the tubes are longer, the flesh is thick. The tubes are always shallow in bicolor, and the bruising is pretty quick on the tubes, but not quick on anything else. Slowly bruises on the flesh. Again, I don't recommend you eat it, but yet people eat it and have eaten it for years. I've eaten it for years, but I've become a little more cautious about bicolor. It's a group of mushrooms, and we have some here that are probably new species, undescribed. It's such a weed, it's really common. But it smells. This one smells like chicken bouillon. I heard that last night. And you get a whole variety of smells. Now, after sitting a day or two, they may smell like something worse than chicken bouillon. But the thing that's weird is there's one called sensibilis, which is poisonous, and it looks a lot like this. The stem is not as red, but when you cut it bruises blue, like right now. It's a quick bruise. This one only bruises on the tubes. It goes green, and then eventually those green bruises will turn brown. But the flesh doesn't bruise significantly. It stays pretty much the same color as it was. So Alan worked on this one the other day, Alan Bissett, and possibly it's an undescribed species, which I feel good and bad about that, because you beat your head against the wall trying to find it in the book, and then you can't do it, and you get frustrated, and then you find an expert says, well, it's not in the book. So you kind of come away going, okay, I'm not that bad at the whole thing. One of my favorite mycologists who's having health problems and is an elderly gentleman is Ernst Both. He used to come to a lot of Northeast forays, and this mushroom we found for years, and we called it a Sulis, and it's had a bunch of other names. It grows under oak and was named after Dr. Both, so it's now Bothii is the genus. So I don't know if there are any other species in the genus. It's a kind of a maverick. It has tubes that, if you look at them, let's say they're somewhat radially arranged. There's sort of a pattern to them. They're not just random. And that's true of a lot of Boletes in the genus Sulis, which we don't have here today. Anyhow, it's nothing special about it other than that, but I'm glad that Ernst was honored by this. He's a nice gentleman and a very expert on Boletes, probably the most prominent expert in the country, if not the world. So, anyhow, look at that one. It's kind of neat. A lot of things are not in the best shape today to talk about. Another oddball, of course, are the gill Boletes, which is kind of backwards. They're not supposed to have gills, but there are gill Boletes. If you look at it from the top, it looks like a bolete. You see it? Oh, it's definitely a bolete. It's got the same structure as. So you look at it, it's a bolete. It has the same look to it. Something from somewhere else. And anyhow, there are two species more than two. There are two that look alike. This one is Phylloporus rhodoxanthus, and one of the key features is if you look at the stem when it's fresh, the mycelium, there's little tufts of fur down there. It'll be yellow. Now, if you have one that's white, it's Phylloporus leucomycelinus.
Do you eat them?
I have eaten them. They're edible. I personally don't think they're wonderful, but a lot of Boletes are better if you dry them, reconstitute them, and use the liquid that you reconstitute them in a soup or in some other kind of dish. So